About 3 years ago on this channel, we went on a little adventure. We dove into the magical world of homemade art supplies, specifically natural inks made from foraged leaves, bark, berries, and more, here in the beautiful city of Vancouver, Canada. A few of you in the comments wondered how the inks held up over time. I wasn't able to give you an answer because for the past 2 years, I was living in Jeju Island, South Korea. Thousands of kilometers, yes, kilometers, not miles, from home. Thousands of kilometers from my family, my 3 friends, my pet animals, and my beloved art supplies. And now I'm back. Can I just say that it's really nice to be reunited with all of my arty things? Watercolors, alcohol markers, gouache, and homemade inks. Hello, segue. To preserve these inks, I only used a couple of drops of clove oil. My old bedroom, where they've been sitting, was quite dark. I also live in Canada, which is generally cold, hence I suppose they were stored in a cool, dark place. I've read through Jason Logan's book, Make Ink, that instead of clove oil, you could add a whole clove to your ink to prevent mold. I'll link to that book down below. It has recipes for homemade natural inks. Also, sterilizing your ink containers in boiling water helps your inks keep longer. I did not do either of these things, but I'll definitely give them a try in the future. Anyways, I approached these inks a bit on edge. I didn't know what to expect. Would there be mold? Would they smell weird? Was something living in them? So, with the utmost caution, I observed them one by one. One of the inks, made from my rhubarb tea, was looking a little chunky. Turns out, I didn't close the lid properly. The rest were looking alright. Through the bottles, I could see that some of the pigment particles separated from the liquid and got stuck on the bottom of the containers. Nothing a good old-fashioned shake wouldn't fix. But these particles would not reinfuse into the water, so they remained as little specks on the page. This was not the only change to the inks, but before I continue, know that I still hold the same sentiments that I did 3 years ago. Botanical inks are derived from nature. They change over time. They're inherently unpredictable. These changes can be frustrating. If you are the type to prefer consistency in your materials, it can be a bit of a pain. And if I'm being honest, there were moments of frustration during my painting of this art piece, until I reminded myself that these inks are handmade and likely well past their expiration date. I had to remind myself to let go a little. And in the end, I really do appreciate the qualities of these inks. I grew to enjoy the little specks that, quote, weren't supposed to be there, unquote, and the unexpected changes in colors. My favorite of the inks when I first made them was the one labeled Butterfly Pea Flower Purple, which started off as a gorgeous teal color. I named these inks based off of the color in liquid form rather than how it appeared dried on paper. And there was some, in some cases, dramatic variation in that. So that probably wasn't the best naming convention, but I digress. This is where I saw the greatest separation in pigments. There were specks galore, and the color went from a cool teal to a warmer forest green, which was still a nice color, but honestly, I did prefer the teal. The Butterfly Pea Flower Blue ink went from a warm blue color to more of a gray. I attempted to use this for shadows near the end of the painting, but the pH of the ink changed once I layered it on top of the other inks, leading to more of a green color in the end. More on that later. The Butterfly Pea Flower Green went from a lovely warm green color to a pale yellow. And this was probably the most dramatic difference. The chunky rhubarb went from a green-brown to a red-brown. The bark ink darkened slightly, and the bark plus pine cone stayed about the same. While the inks in liquid form changed rather dramatically, There wasn't actually a huge color shift in the art piece I painted 3 years ago. The ink made with avocado pits went from a beautiful punchy red to a vibrant warm brown. Any other differences were quite minor. Overall, it was nice to see how the inks changed over time. And while I did enjoy using them, I will have to retire this batch. It's been a while, and there's only so much that a drop of clove oil can do to make these inks last. So if you have any other suggestions on how to preserve botanical inks, please do let me know. Last week, I went on an adventure with my dad in search of raw pigment materials. I picked up some dandelions, blackberries, rose hips, colored leaves, and more. I plan to give creating botanical inks another shot, so subscribe and/or stay tuned for that video. If I'm being honest, the first time I experimented with making them was probably the most fun I had with any art project. Definitely more fun than making homemade pigment powder and watercolor paper. Link in description, BTW. The whole process was so involved and invigorating, and it's really incredible to create these paintable colors out of the random things that you find outdoors. I think it's a great way to connect with nature, and it's a lot of fun to see what funky colors you can come up with. While I was filming this video, an Amazon order came in with more glass eyedroppers since I plan to make more inks in the near future. And I'll link to these cute containers in the description. Amazon affiliate link. You could obviously use any little containers, especially if you're on a budget, but I'm a little bit extra, so I opted for these ones. I won't dive too deeply into the science behind these inks because I ain't no expert. Not right now, at least. But you can shift the colors of your inks by manipulating their pH. So the reason why I had 3 different colors made from butterfly pea flower, blue, purple, and green, is because I left one as is. I added washing soda to another, which has a higher pH, and alum, or aluminum sulfite, to the last one, which has a lower pH. And I'll dive into this a little bit more next time I make inks, which hopefully will be soon. As for the art piece, I drew this based on a Pinterest reference photo, which I will link below. It's been a while since I've drawn and painted a person, and despite some clear mistakes, I am pretty happy with how it turned out. The inks didn't give me a huge range of values to play with, so I used Speedball India ink for the blacks and went over the art piece with some of my Prismacolor Scholar colored pencils to add a bit more depth and dimension. While I didn't have much choice over it, I really did adore the muted color palette of the artwork. Overall, this experience was a fantastic one. It really lit a fire under me and had me excited over creating handmade art supplies again. I have a ton of videos in mind. Revisiting my handmade watercolors and watercolor paper are some, along with some videos catching you all up on how the past 2 years have been since I've hardly been posting videos. Not a fan of working full-time, despite it being, the thing to do. Unfortunately, because I haven't been posting, I was pulled from the YouTube Partner Program, so I'll have to reapply. It is a bit of a blow, and it definitely breaks my heart, but hey, c'est la vie. I'd really appreciate likes and comments, as well as tuning in to some of my other videos. I need to reach a watch time threshold before I can reapply, so any form of engagement would be a massive help. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I have a short but growing playlist of homemade art supplies, so if you enjoyed this, feel free to check that out, or watch my video about botanical inks that I posted 3 years ago, the one referenced in this video. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, or don't. You know the drill. Do whatever you want. Until next time, stay creative. See you. So, I am scripting for this video, and look who I see through the window. It's Oliver. The birds are out right now. They spotted him first.
Something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
What are you doing? Oh my god, this cat.